Recently, I had a situation where no one seemed to have the credentials to a Linux virtual machine that we were running in Azure. But if this ever happens, you can use a few different methods within Azure to gain access to the system. And I'm going to demonstrate probably the easiest method here. And you can see it's three big steps. One, create the user. Two, give it a password or SSH key, and then just add it to the sudo group. But you may be asking, well, how are you going to do all that if you don't have credentials to SSH to the system? We're not going to do it through SSH. What we're going to do is let's go into the VM, and under operations, we've got this run command and run shell script. Now we can paste this stuff in here or type it and click the run button. It will run within the virtual machine even though we don't have credentials. Now, if we look at what the commands are doing, these three commands here would be creating the rescue user, giving it a password, and adding it to that group. We're going to do probably the more interesting method and definitely more secure, which is using SSH keys. So I'll just briefly explain what it's doing here, not to insult your intelligence, but here we have a user add. We're just going to -m is creating the home directory immediately and then giving it the shell of bin bash, and we're just going to call the user rescue user. And here we are making a directory of .ssh within the rescue user's home directory. And this line here is going to echo the public key, big old long single line of text, and redirect it into this file, the authorized underscore keys file, which will be familiar to you if you're used to using SSH keys. And let me just show you here in PuTTY-gen. I've created this public private key. Here is the public key shown here. If I right click, select all, right click, copy, that's what I have pasted within these quotes here, this big old long line of text. So that's how I got that. And then the next line here is just changing the owner recursively to rescue user on that .ssh directory. And here we're schmodding 700 on that directory, and then schmodding 600 on the authorized underscore keys file. Here we are adding it to the group sudo. And on Ubuntu, this group is called sudo. On RHEL, this is the will group. So if it was a Red Hat based system, you would use will here instead of sudo. And then here we are just putting this single line of text into this file, rescue user all equal all, no password colon all, into the sudo orders.d rescue user file. That just makes it so that the rescue user does not need a password in order to sudo, because we're not going to give it a password. All right, and finally here, chmod 4400 on that file. All right, let's see. Let's run this on our virtual machine and see what happens. Paste it in there. I'm going to click the run button. Wait a few seconds, and I should see some output in the lower right-hand corner here. Another second or two. Okay, it says succeeded. That's a good sign. So let's close this, shrink that up. Make sure I've got the right public IP here. And let's see if I've got PuTTY running. Okay. Paste in my IP. Now, I'm just going to show you something here real quick. In the data, you can auto-populate the username. We're going to do rescue user. And then a default setting here, but I'll go ahead and show it, is under auth. You've got attempt authentication using Pagent. And I've got Pagent open here, and my private key is unlocked and in memory. Of course, it's protected with a passphrase, which you should always do when you're using SSH keys. So we should be set to SSH to this system. So let's give it a try and see what happens. Okay, authenticating with public key, and I am logged in. Now let's see if I can sudo. And I can. I'm now root, and even though I didn't know the credentials for this system running in Azure, I was able to gain access to it. So hopefully you found this interesting to watch, and I thank you for watching.